Hello, hello. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone see the Bitcoin chart? Hear the music? Volume's okay? Quick check. Perfect. Gonna give it a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. We'll give my thoughts on the market once again. I'm still in my shorts. For Bitcoin, I think I'm good. For ETH, a little bit more tricky, if you ask me. But for now, I'm just holding both of them. And I think I will hold them through FOMC, and I'll explain why. You know, if you watch the previous streams, you know why I'm short already. But I'll explain again, all right? I could see upsides, of course, heading into FOMC and after FOMC, but then, yeah, I'm not sure about further breakout to the upside just yet. But yeah, in-depth analysis coming in a second. How are you guys doing? Everyone doing good? Trading going well? Sandeep, Arya, Ozzy, Sachin, Robert, Jordan. Welcome, guys. Hello, Furkan. All good. How about your holiday? Well, I decided not to go to Santorini. I booked tickets for Ibiza instead. All good, sir. Looking forward to the pump and dump. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the most likely scenario, is that it's gonna be a wick fest, you know? But I think any move after FOMC, after it just came out, the results, is gonna be a move to fade. But we'll see. It is a little bit scary that I think, like, it's difficult to say everyone is this or everyone is that, but I still feel like the majority of the people right now, after this upside, right, that we got the last couple weeks, what is it, about 3 weeks, yeah, last couple days, this grind to the upside, everyone is expecting us to just simply break above this key resistance area and go for new all-time highs, and that's a little bit concerning in my opinion. I am bullish for the coming months, you know, for October, November, December maybe, we'll see. But yeah, I've posted about it already, that I think it wouldn't be a bad thing to see downside first. Those people, let them FOMO in around these prices, right? Maybe wick to the upside, then absolutely smash them back down, sweep some more key liquidity to the downside, then reclaim the lows, grind higher, chop a bit, and break out to the upside. Yeah, I'm already talking about Bitcoin now while We haven't started yet, but just some general thoughts already. Do you ever trade memes? Yes, I do. Not as much as I used to, but I do. I don't like actively day trade them or something. Doge and Pepe. Yes, I will. The upside is so unconvincing. Yeah, I agree. You're listening. Nice. Yeah, it's scary. Scary. Some posts on X really scary me about the market, to be honest. Not sure how you can ignore the fact that we are coming into key resistance here on the weekly, with bears having a really clean invalidation. Anyways, what are your current positions? I will talk about them in a second, but I am short. All right, 60 people, awesome to see. Let's get started. Leave a like on the stream if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Those things help me to grow on YouTube. So takes a second and that's much appreciated. If you want to trade somewhere, consider signing up on Bluefin. They're my partners. I have a link in the description which you can use. That also gives you a nice deposit bonus. If you want to get funded, right, head over to my other partners at Breakout. Get an evaluation, buy an evaluation for a low price. Pass the challenge, the evaluation, and if you do, you get a funded account and you can start requesting payouts if you're profitable, of course. More info in the description. Use my code for a nice discount on the evaluations. With that being said, let's dive into the charts. All right. So, yeah, where do we even start? To be honest, nothing too much has changed from the last stream where we explained everything on why we were cautiously bearish, right, on these lower time frames, but still bullish on the higher time frames. And the main reason for that was the look of the monthly. So let's start off with a clean chart, as always. Okay, starting off on the monthly, always good to mark out some key monthly levels, right? The levels that got swept to the upside, the levels that got swept to the downside, and of course mark out the levels, more importantly, that are unswept to the upside and the downside. The unswept levels are gonna be the draw, right? And the more levels that are unswept towards either side and swept towards the other side, the more likely price is to move into that direction, right? It's always the same, and that counts not only for the monthly, but also for the weekly, the daily, the 12-hour, the 4-hour. You can basically use it on every time frame. How I like using it, right, is using those concepts on the higher time frames, right? Marking out those levels, seeing where key liquidity is going to be resting, and then targeting that area on the lower time frames, using the lower time frames for triggers and for entries, right? So on the monthly, what do we see? We see, if you mark out previous month's low, right, we slightly front ran it and didn't sweep it, while on the monthly, the previous highs, right, got swept nicely. And more importantly, the monthly closed in the red with a long wick to the upside. Now the question is this on the monthly just the bearish retest that leads to continuation to the downside, or Was this move to the downside enough, and did we sweep enough lower time frame liquidity to just continue the grind up and break out to new all-time highs? Well, in a situation like this, where you have this much liquidity to the downside and everyone being bullish right into resistance, I always like to assume that resistance is gonna be resistance until proven otherwise. So therefore, I'm looking for reasons to sell. Where does this get invalidated? Well, if the monthly closes very bullish again, right? I would say a close like this would be bullish, but as you can see, we still have 13 days left. But anywhere above current prices and anywhere above the previous monthly close or the previous monthly open would be a good close and signal more upside. But until then, right, just think about this pattern on the monthly that you see and thinking if you see it on the lower time frames, right? You have some key highs resting right there that got swept on this entire move, monthly sweep, and then within this move you have this monthly high that got taken out on this move, and the monthly closed ugly in the red below this key level. So those reasons on their own for me are pretty much enough to be cautious here and to assume that this pump that we're seeing right now is just the retest in the making that leads to ultimately lower prices. Where am I going to be targeting? Well, the first target is going to be towards these lows. I said it in the last stream and I'll say it again. If the current monthly candle would have looked like this, right? With a longer wick to the downside, that would have swept all of the liquidity below these two key monthly lows, I would be way more bullish and I would give it a way higher probability that this is in fact the reclaim and the upside that ultimately leads to way higher prices. Hold on 1 second. All right, sorry for that. Had to pick up the phone. Anyways, where were we? So we were talking that if the monthly candle would have looked like this, would have looked like this with a long wick to the downside, right? That it would look much better on the monthly time frame, and at that point would have a higher probability of breaking out to new all-time highs, right? But that's not what we have. What we have right now is a monthly candle that looks like this, that left all of this clean liquidity to the downside, has a previously monthly candle that closed very ugly in the red and swept previous monthly liquidity, and therefore I'm looking for shorts. All right. Another big reason on why I think like this is, I've talked about it in the previous one as well. If you simply look at it at a standpoint for invalidation, right? Where is your invalidation for shorts, right? I think we can all agree that the invalidation and the risk reward for shorting here is way cleaner than for longs, right? If you long here, where do you put your invalidation? Yeah, maybe below these lows, that would be fair. Then you assume that this is the low in, but I don't like putting my stop there because of the reasons I just said, that the monthly has some clean liquidity there and that I could see a dump, right? Back to these lows, take out that liquidity, then reclaim and still move to new all-time highs. While for shorts, right, if you're targeting these lows here, you either put your invalidation right above this OTE area, which lines up beautifully with lower time frame highs right here that I could see taken out, boom, and then a rejection that ultimately leads to lower, or you play it safer and simply put it above this monthly high that got swept and that led to all of this downside. Okay, so for me, I'm still in shorts. I put my stop pretty damn wide, as you can see right there. I put this as a target, an ultimate target all the way down here. But of course, if we do something like this, sweep, reclaim, and we see strength, yeah, I'll be fully out of shorts and I'll even be looking for aggressive longs targeting new all-time highs. As I posted yesterday, I am not bearish on Bitcoin on the higher time frames. I'm bullish on Bitcoin, but I just think that it would be much healthier for us to now see a final leg to the downside. And you could say, you're missing out. You had chances enough to buy the dip. Like, I don't need a dip. I'm fully allocated to spot, right? I'm just trading the chart, trading what I see. And I don't think that it would be a bad thing to go for these lows again. Get a clean sweep, make everyone bearish again, because guess what everyone will be saying when we trade down here? Then reclaim, right? Maybe see some chop here and then break out to new all-time highs. All right, so for FOMC, yeah, it's a little tricky what we're gonna have. I wouldn't be surprised, right, to see a pop after FOMC, maybe into OTE, but I don't think that we break above this OTE area. I think that's going to be massive resistance. Any pump in there could get faded straight away. That leads to a little downside again. Now, what I also don't think is that we're going to see this and then straight back down during FOMC. What I think is FOMC is going to be a wick to the upside, back down to where we traded before, and then just chop again. But I could be wrong, of course, as always. But I'm personally holding my Bitcoin shorts, and I might even look to add a bit if we trade close towards that OTE area. Look to fade it there and take some profit straight away if we sweep some lows right after that. All right. If not, if we nuke during FOMC, yeah, I'm in short, so I wouldn't mind. But that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. Is that clear for everyone? Any questions about this? Pump today, like you say, what's the target around 118k, then dump over the rest of the month? I'm not sure. Yeah, 180k, like I said, I'm watching these clean highs up here, mostly this one, right? But we have some more right here, but the more liquidity is gonna be above that one, in my opinion. We have some equal highs here, so maybe pop in there, right? Sweep into OTE, that's gonna be a level to watch. And then if we trade back down here, except back below, I wouldn't be surprised if we trade towards these lows next. Now, ideal scenario, and now I'm talking ideal, is we pop today, right? We reject, we trade lower over the coming days, and already reclaim this this low within the same monthly candle. Just think about what the monthly candle would look like if we do that, right? Then we would have the same as we have right now, but with a lower wick, just like I showed you, something like this, right? Maybe not that low, maybe something like this, and then close in the green. Probably not that high. The higher, the better, right? But that would, in my opinion, be the ideal scenario. Are we gonna get it? I'm not sure, right? We traded level to level, but that's what I'm watching for now. What do you think about the doom predictions below 100k? I could see them happening. I'm definitely not ruling them out. And that's also why I have my target down there. If you look at it on the weekly, right? Do you think high time frame that this would be bad if we sweep this low as well, right? Something like this, and then see a strong reclaim, then we're just trading within this low and these highs. Then we've built up a new range, maybe trade a bit like this, and then break out to new all-time highs. So that doesn't necessarily have to mean anything bad. It would just be a liquidity grab to the downside that could still lead to way higher prices after that. Right, with that being said, let's move over to ETH. Let's remove some of these. Yeah, you can straight away see on the weekly that I've marked out some levels, weekly highs that got swept and weekly lows that are unswept. It's a cleaner view on the daily actually. You can clearly see your daily range in one swing from this high to this low, back to the highs, swept the highs, came back down, right? Bounced into range high resistance, supply, OTE, where's the OTE? There's the OTE, from the high to the low, look for rejections on the way up, right? And in my opinion, the next draw is big to the downside here and here. So what invalidates this? If maybe after FOMC, maybe later, maybe not, but if we see a massive weekly and we start reclaiming this now and close a massive pump, I meant to say, and see a close anywhere strong like into this blue area, yeah, then I think we won't be able to stop it and it's gonna break out to new highs. But until then, I like to see this as a bearish retest, a lower high that leads to these clean lows after. So once again, the risk reward for shorts is way cleaner in my opinion than for longs. Where do you put your stops if you're looking for longs here? Okay, maybe below here, but I don't like that, as there's, I think, gonna be a lot of liquidity resting there and below the opposite side of the range, which is down here. So once again, I could see a pop after FOMC, maybe something like this, right? Let Bitcoin, you have all probably seen that Bitcoin has been stronger the last couple of days than Ethereum, as Bitcoin traded to new local highs, while Ethereum basically didn't do anything. So what if after FOMC, Bitcoin spikes into OTE, Ethereum spikes in here, key supply, and then Bitcoin starts rejecting back down. Yeah, maybe that's a little, but starts rejecting, starts trading here and goes for some lows, And then that would mean Ethereum would reject there and trade to some lows after that. All right. So that's what I'm watching for ETH. Again, what invalidates this, I would like to see this high hold, right? If we trade up here again and close the daily strong up here, then I think we see continuation. But until then, I see this as key resistance, and any pump in there, if it's bearish, should get sold off and lead to continuation towards these lows. Any questions? Do you expect Altseason this year? I cannot give you an answer on that, and that's the easy answer. But if you want an answer, I'll say no, because like, how do you define Altseason, right? Could I see altcoins pump on the weekly and put in some massive green candles? Yes, but do you want to call that Altseason? I don't know. Do I think you're gonna get those times where you wake up and your altcoin moved up 10x? Then no. Are there gonna be alts that are going to do that? Yes, probably. But you know, just trade the chart up and down both ways. That will go way better than trying to predict if there's going to be an alt season. And hold spot instead. Bitcoin, ETH, BNB. BNB, by the way, massive upside from where we bought, right? We have been holding from way lower, obviously, right? But we bought way more in this range in between these two blue areas and are now trading significantly higher. My initial targets for BNB were 1K and 1.2K, but right now, like, you've gotta adapt and see where the market is trading at right now. And I think that Bitcoin is gonna have some great months towards the end of the year, right, in Q4. And if I see what BNB is doing right now already, I think that this could like easily trade towards, let's say, 1.5K. If Bitcoin truly breaks out, right? Let's say it does something like this. Let's say it don't, right? Let's say we just retest this, or let's say we break out from here to the upside, right? Then I think BNB is gonna be easily targeting 1.5K. So for those reasons, I'm just holding all of my spots on this one as well for now, targeting way higher. For Ethereum, the same. Like, I simply haven't sold any spot yet, as I think the coming months are gonna be very good for the crypto markets. We saw gold break out massively, right? Trading significantly higher. Stocks are trading at all-time highs, very strong. Probably only a matter of time before Bitcoin does as well. All I want to see here is some downside on these lower time frames, trap some more people, make them not believing anymore in new all-time highs, and that's when you go all in and target 130, 140K. Would you go live again after FOMC? No, I'm not going to. What do you think about today's announcement? I already talked about it. Go watch the start of the stream. But yeah, so those are my overall thoughts. I think in general it wouldn't be a bad thing. I'd say it would be a good thing if we see downside from these levels, or spike up after FOMC and then reject and see some downside over the coming days, right? I'm talking days, next week maybe, sweep some kilos and then reclaim those levels. and have the real strength to go for all-time highs. Any open trades on Litecoin? Nope, no trades, but I do hold spot Litecoin, right? Still same thoughts, nothing has changed. Massive weekly range, accumulation range, never traded below, like, let's say $60, and the upside is infinite. So I feel like holding spot on this one is a good bet, right? Once it breaks above this area, it's gonna be aggressive in my opinion, and then it could trade towards like $300 very fast. So that's basically what I'm looking for on Litecoin. Why am I not in trades on this one? Because it's very difficult to time it, right? You don't know when it's going to break out, when it's ready, but once it does, it will likely go fast. And that's why I'm holding spots. But also on Litecoin, right? As you can see, this lower time frame range, highs swept, lows unswept. So lining up beautifully with one more dip, sweep some lows, reclaim, right? And then have the strength to break out. Everyone's bearish on Curve. Must be a good time to take a trade soon, do you think? I'm not sure if everyone is bearish, but let's see. I like this level right here. But I would like to see a little more aggressive sweep of this low then before getting in. So what I either want to see here, what I really like about this is this range you have right here, right? From this level to this level, which was on the weekly basically resistance right here. You could see this general area as a key pivotal area, right? Now it's coming down into that area. This as a key low. Is this considered as the sweep, right? What confirms that? Either you be aggressive on a sweep below here, then look for the reclaim, or you simply wait for the reclaim above here and then start targeting all of these highs. But I do agree that once it's ready, it could be a good trade. I just think it's a little bit early to say that, right? So either a more aggressive sweep below these lows and a reclaim, or a reclaim above here. Is there a possibility to close a CME gap around 92k? Of course, there's always the chance that something is going to happen. Thoughts on Doge? I was bullish on this, right? I was saying from here that I was going to be bullish if we would reclaim this range EQ, and guess what? We reclaimed it. So the chart is looking pretty good in my opinion. As you can see, what a beautiful retest here. I said if we reclaim this, I would be targeting range high, and that's pretty much what I'm looking for here now. This looks, in my opinion, way better than Bitcoin and Ethereum at the moment. Of course, if those dump, this will dump as well, but could weaken here and then reclaim and still send to the highs right after. But yeah, I agree. This is looking pretty strong, pretty damn good. What do you think about TIA? We took a look at it on the last stream and it looks absolutely dead on the weekly. So yeah, could it scam pump out of nowhere? Yes. Is it worth trying to catch it and trying to trade it? In my opinion, not. So like, yes, I could see this do something like this. But are you willing to put your money behind it on a trade, right? Where is your invalidation then? Are you willing to buy spots if this can also just bleed down another 50%? Nah, in my opinion, stay away, look for other opportunities. ARB. Not convincing, in my opinion. Right? It reclaimed this level, but not with a real strong move. So here again, I would want to see a sweep of some lows aggressively and then look for a reclaim and then maybe higher prices. Same thing basically. But like you can see it on the weekly, you know, this is not convincing and it's just looking weak right now. So if we sweep these lower time frame lows into that key level, into daily demand, resting around these levels, key pivotal area, right? From there, if it reclaims these lows, it will look a lot better, on, especially on the weekly. Then you'd have a wick below all of these lows, and then a reclaim. At that point, could see it trade like towards somewhere around here, this ugly weekly top, and then we'll see. Same ID, nice. AVEX. Yeah, I like this. Broke out last week. Strong close and looking strong at the moment as well. Oh yeah, that's one to keep an eye on. It is at key resistance, as you can see, it rejected there. But it broke above this, and that's looking good, right? This key resistance. So in between this support, this resistance and this support, lower time frames, what do we have? Clean lows resting below. Yeah, we barely wick below there, but that's not a clean sweep in my eyes, right? So once again, if you get another sweep in there, reclaim, that could be a nice trade, even if it's just towards this resistance area. So look for longs on the sweep, keep your invalidation right there, trade what's hot, right? It's looking strong. So sweep, invalidation there, and target here, and hold some in case we break out and trade a lot higher. Pump, yeah. Let's take. So I posted this chart this morning. Well, basically, obviously, weekly time frame, very bullish, trading price discovery, daily as well. Lower time frame range being built up with clean highs and clean lows, right? What do I mean with clean highs and clean lows? There's two unswept highs to the upside and two unswept highs to the downside. So the reason I said I want to see a sweep of the lows first is if you get that sweep to the lows and you reclaim this, then liquidity is going to be heavily to the upside. After a move like this, liquidity to the downside being swept, liquidity to the upside unswept. Look for lower time frame longs, simply targeting those highs. If we after then sweep the highs and reject, that's fine. That's a trade done, you know. But high probability to catch a low here if it sweeps the lows. What's Bitcoin doing? Yeah, I think it's just gonna chop until FOMC. Sol. Yeah, high time frame, you know my thoughts, right? It's looking good. We closed strong, but it is key resistance from the high to the low. OTE area right there. Another key level right here. Resistance and supply from here, right? If we break above here and close the weekly above this level, yeah, then probably any dip is a buy targeting new all-time highs. But as long as we don't, I could see it go for some lows as well. Lower time frames looking rather weak, if you ask me. And yeah, you can see the sort of distribution, right? High, swept, rejected. Then from this consolidation, we broke down, retested. So as long as we don't break above this right here, I think it's just gonna result in further downside, at least towards somewhere around here. Tau clean lows right here and highs right here on the weekly. So what I'd like to see, once again, sweep these lows, right? Then see the reclaim and then back to the highs. But from here, I feel like too much liquidity resting below these lows. Sweep those lows into demand, right? Reclaim this low and then send to the highs. Yeah. Bird, yeah. So came lower down than I expected, but as you can see, those boxes that we have had for quite a while. Why this lower gray box? Well, resistance here, then broke below, support right here, sorry, broke below, ugly close, resistance, 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 broke above, retest as support. So this area in general is gonna be massive support in my opinion. So nothing changed. I'm still looking for a break above here that targets these highs up here. Right? TYTX. Same thing. Look at the monthly. Hasn't moved for like months. So could I see it do something like this and then reject or something? Yes. Is it worth it looking for trades on this? Hell no. I'd be looking at something else. Could it be accumulation? Yes, but look at these huge red candles here. Rejected heavily. So I just simply wouldn't get involved, wouldn't take the risk to trade this. Rather just trade pure price action on Bitcoin or look for altcoins that are looking cleaner and stronger. Uni. That's looking more interesting than those ugly previous ones. Demand has been holding this entire time. See, so this, I'd rather buy something that looks like this than the previous one, because this hasn't broken to new lows after new lows after new lows and has just been holding the floor, looking like it's accumulation, right? With this as the highs and this as the lows. So either wait for another go at the lows, although I don't think you're gonna get that, and then look to trade it back up, or yeah, probably a monthly close above here, and then you buy the retest and target new highs. It looks similar to Bird, right? Support, broke below, retest, sold off. Ranging, resistance, resistance, resistance. Once it gets above here, buy the retest and target the next resistance level. And that's the same with Bird, while Bird is now trading somewhere around here. Broke out and retested. So I would wait for the same thing on this one. peanut. Nah, I don't like this. Stupid meme coin. Right, okay, it's holding the floor, but pump, sold off. Weaker pump, sold off. Even weaker pump, I wouldn't be surprised if it just sells off again. Link, I really liked and still do, but what were we looking for? Sweep of the lows. Same thing, something like this, into this gray area, reclaim, and then target new highs. Look at this key pivotal area here, right? And then look at the weekly. On the weekly, right? Pump into supply, rejected. And now on the weekly, turning into the red, looking like it wants to sweep some lows. So sweep this, then you're looking for longs, at least back towards resistance. Hold some in case we break above resistance, and then target really a lot higher. Looks similar to ETH, right? And that's why I'm shorting ETH as well. ETH closed a little bit stronger on the weekly, but it's the same thoughts. We pumped, retraced, pumped into supply, rejected, weekly turned red, right? Clean lows below. That's why I'm short this, looking for the lows. If we now see a sweep of all of those lows, yeah, then I'm going to be flipping bullish and looking for longs, obviously. But now with everyone targeting straight up higher from here, I don't see it personally. But we'll see. All right. That's going to be it for today, guys. We covered a lot. Once again, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. Subscribe. Let's see what FOMC does. You know my plans. I could be wrong. I'm still fully allocated to spot. So if you break out from here, I'll be a happy man. Manage your risk as always. If you want to trade on an exchange, go check out Blowfin. If you want to get a funded account and you'd lack capital to trade with, check out Breakout. Use my code to get a discount. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.